Hello, my name is Kenneth Monix, and today I will be giving my presentation on Xavier Veilhan, a journey in his universe. Today's presentation will include who Xavier Veilhan was and how his artworks came to be, what they represent, what they flow into. Xavier Veilhan was born in 1963 in France. He did a lot of sculpture, but he also dabbled in installation art, painting, photography, as well as film. But today specifically we'll be keying in on his sculpture work, seeing as it was his most famous. What we'll notice about a lot of his sculptures is that they're very three-dimensional, they're very full-rounded, meaning that you can pretty much walk up to them, you can look at them from any angle. Some examples are like the carriage. We're not going to be analyzing these, but I just wanted to show you kind of what types of art he's into. We have Laurent, who we will be analyzing. Then we have other sculptures that we won't be analyzing, but just kind of give you the general idea of what he does. Then we have the Spiral Man, which we will not be analyzing. Then we have the Lion, which we will be analyzing, and this is probably one of my favorites out of the whole set. And then we have the exhibition Sculptures Automatiques. This is the exhibition that we'll be keying in on today to look at. We'll be bouncing around the room. Sculptures Automatiques, the cool thing about that is that it's actually French for the phrase automatic sculptures. These sculptures kind of bounce off the same varying themes, that they're all very singular colored. They're each a different color, but there's no mixes of colors. And they're also very cubic, 3D. We're just kind of looking at the base idea of what each sculpture is. So for starters, we'll go with the Lion. The Lion is like this massive sculpture on the other side of the room. It's kind of, if it wasn't for Laurent, who was the yellow man that we'll be discussing later, I would say that the Lion is actually the centerpiece to all this. He's the biggest part of it. He's kind of his own focal area, just because of his mass. When you're looking in the room, you'll start off probably from Laurent, but then you'll bounce your way to the Lion, because the Lion's just the next biggest thing in the room. It's the next thing that just kind of catches your eye. But the cool thing about this sculpture is that, like the others, it's just a lion. There's no extraneous information such as what nationality the lion is, what it's doing. It's just the lion. It's very smooth and reflective, kind of giving it like this unreal, polished, just shine that shouldn't naturally be there, but it is. As you'll notice, there really aren't any negative spaces except for maybe underneath the lion where you can see through it. But generally, as you look at this, it just draws your eyes outward. You're going from the black to the white, you're going from the mass to the emptiness. You're just going to be looking at just how fine-grained, how fine-tuned this thing is. And it just kind of fits into that underlying theme of just, it is what it is. There's nothing more to it, it's just the lion. So, we'll be moving from there on to Laurent, who is the brightest man in the room. He's probably got the happiest smile on his face, or he should, considering that he's such a bright color. What we'll notice is that Laurent is off to the side of the room, across from the female, Deborah, who we'll be talking about later on. Laurent is this very yellow, very bright, very, what's a good word for it, very anonymous kind of man. You're not really going to know who he is, by the way, by your first look at him. You're not going to know even by examining him for a long period of time. It's just Laurent. Laurent is a man, representing the idea of a man in life. He's there, he's existing, and that's all that we really need to know about. He's very shiny, he's very abstract, he's made out of polyurethane, and he's off to the side. All the lines don't really have a general direction that they're going in, they're just kind of there to show Laurent as he is. To give him just enough definition that you can tell that it's Laurent. You'll see that he kind of has like these negative spaces in his eyes, kind of just representing the overall shading, the overall just fact that he's there. But also, we'll notice his juxtaposition to our other sculpture that we'll be analyzing now, which is Deborah. She's on the other side of the room. She's made out of wood, polished off a little bit. But the cool thing is that it looks like the artist used kind of a subtraction type method to cut her out, because it's really hard to do anything else with wood other than cut from it. While the others in the room are kind of more or less substitution. They were casted in molds. But the funny thing about Deborah is that she's actually been labeled as Deborah for multiple different sculptures. So it makes me wonder, is Deborah maybe like his wife? Or maybe a lover? Someone who's dead and gone? I don't know. What she represents, it doesn't really matter to us. We're only here to look at the sculpture. And the sculpture is this beautiful abstract female just in the middle of the room. The curves and the lines just kind of draw your eyes around it, kind of in a circular motion, maybe deflecting off what most people would do, which would be to stare at her more pronounced features such as her breast or her butt or anywhere else. So it's kind of interesting how he carved her out to kind of, I guess, give the same general thing of what females are. And then moving on, we're going to be talking about our lovely friend the monster. This one is by far my favorite. I didn't notice him at first when I started doing the research for this guy, but now that I've seen him, I have seen it all. The monster has come in multiple different forms, but in this case, he's just our monster in the middle of the room. Actually, he's more off to the side. He's just kind of like this afterthought that no one really thinks about until they turn around and see him. Maybe when they first walk in the room, they see the humans, they see the animals, they see the piano player, but then they turn and they jump because they see this monster. And the cool thing about the monster is that he's just like everyone else. It's this base idea of a monster. There's nothing specific to him. He's not a nightmare monster. He's not like a Russian monster or whatever, specifics or generally stereotypes you would stick on a monster. He's just a monster. He's the idea of fear. He's there as an entity that Veilhan kind of wanted off to the side, and I can only imagine what for. I feel like the monster is just kind of like this. It's like the irrational and irrational fears that people have, and that it's just there. It's always lingering in the back of your mind, which is why it's off to the side of the entire exhibition. And so it's kind of cool how he shows up there, and once again, we really don't have much in the way of lines. His are even more smoothed out than the other ones, and he's arched over as if he's getting ready to attack. And it's just really cool how they did that because it puts him in kind of an action phase. But there you have it. That was Sculptures Automatiques. I believe the whole exhibition was just kind of like basically a landmark of ideas, as well as just basically, I believe, it's almost kind of like the circle of life, as cheesy as it sounds. You have got a man on one side, a woman on the other side, all the things that can come in between them, such as creatures, such as confidence issues, like the small man in the corner, or even an obsession with like the arts, such as that man with the piano. But the monster lying off to the side is what completes it. It makes it kind of like a psychoanalytical type exhibition. It's all about those things in life. It's all about your fears, your wants, ambitions, your dreams, your desires. And generally, that's just what it comes down to. Now, here we have my lovely page of references, just to make sure I didn't steal anything or plagiarize anything. I just wanted to make sure that we got it all here and that we're good to go. I believe once we scope in here, we have everything from website links to image links, and overall I just recorded the video long enough for you to actually be able to look at them and see what they are to make sure that they're legitimate, and that's it to it. I mean, honestly. So, coming down to the last of this, I have to imagine that you, as well as I, am jumping for joy right now, because we're finally near the end of this semester. We're finally down to the last few weeks, and I'm jumping for joy. I'm happy. I'm ready to be done with this. But my real happiness probably won't start until after we survive those nasty exams. Don't worry about it. Not that big of a deal. But I just basically wanted to take the time to really thank you for all the time that you put in, all the effort, all the fun and the discussions, all of the general, I guess, information that you gave us. I'm now able to truly appreciate art for what it is and not so much to the fact that it's just there. I can now look at it and understand that it's more than just something on a canvas, it's more than just an object, but there is actually a deeper underlying meaning to all of it. And honestly, I'm just really happy that you taught me this. And because you taught me this, I will no longer be at that fork in the road between the average and the memorable. I'm going to jump off to the memorable side of things. Instead of going left, I'm going to go right. The rest of my life is going to be filled with being able to look at art and truly appreciate what it is and take some form of meaning away from it. And for that, I want to thank you.